Oh God, my hairline is definitely receding. Well, better put my hat on backwards to reclaim my youth. Alright, how's it going everybody? I wanted to make this video where I could discuss the 2021 base model MacBook Pro. It's the 14-inch space gray version. Had it for a couple years and I'm super happy with it. So I wanted to give you guys my experience so far and what you could expect when you're buying a MacBook Pro. Now, when I initially purchased this How unprofessional. When I initially purchased this MacBook Pro, I purchased it for 4K video editing in Premiere using the Adobe suite in general. And I also purchased it for iOS development, running Xcode and simulators within Xcode. I also work in IT, so I put this MacBook through its paces, and every single time, without fail, it rises to the occasion. Now I know the M3 MacBooks just got released not too long ago, and they do look super sexy, especially that space black. But I see absolutely no reason to upgrade other than just like a general greediness and like first worldy kinda wanting the newest thing at all times. But I just can't justify it because this thing is incredible. It still works like I just got it. It actually has that day one vibe. Everything opens instantly still. The battery life is still impeccable. I'm getting 10 hours or so, and that's with like pretty decent usage. Like I have multiple tabs open, multiple programs. When I'm using Premiere to edit 4K videos with lots of layers and color correcting and effects, then that drops a little bit for sure, maybe more around the 5-6 hours. The same thing if I'm, doing a lot of work in Xcode and doing a lot of compiling and running the simulators. But if I'm not doing that, I get a full day battery life without question. Battery health is still at 97%, and I'm just blown away by how well this thing has stood up over the test of time. Now, it's only been a couple of years, but in a couple more, I expect it to be running pretty much how it is now. That's just kind of what you can expect with MacBook Pros. Now with this MacBook Pro, it was the redesign. This is where the 2021 and subsequent MacBooks got a little bit chunkier, a little bit heavier, also a lot more powerful. And the cool thing that I like with these MacBooks in particular is you do get the ports back, especially that SD card reader. My PC doesn't even have an SD card reader, which is why I always end up editing on my Mac. And I absolutely love all of the port selection that we get with these MacBook Pros. It's one of those things where, it was taken away from us a long time ago and it just hadn't been the same until obviously I should mute this. It hasn't been the same until recently. So I'm super appreciative that we have these back. Over the past couple years, it's been absolutely wonderful being able to pop in a USB-C accessory or an SD card or just charge via MagSafe. All of these things were greatly missed when they were gone, and I'm so happy that they're back. Now, I touched on this before, but I want to talk about it a little bit more. It's the performance of the computer itself. Everything I throw at it, it just handles wonderfully. 4K editing in Premiere, Photoshop, After Effects, Xcode, it just handles everything so well. It's super snappy. Load times are basically non-existent for a lot of tasks, and then the tasks that are more demanding, like compiling and rendering, still happen super quickly. And keep in mind, this is the base model with the 8-core chip, and I'm so impressed that even 2 years later, it's handling the tasks at the capacity that it does. I'm really curious now to see what the Max and Ultra chips are like owning. I've never owned anything that powerful, but like, my God, if this is the base model and it's capable of all this, I can't even imagine. Now, it is the base model, but I did upgrade the drive from 512 to 1 terabyte, mainly just because I knew I was gonna need it, especially for how long I'm considering to have this MacBook, which is about 4 or 5 years. 512 would be sufficient, especially with all of the external drive options we have available to us, but 1 terabyte just sounded like a good idea, so I did that. I actually haven't even come close to filling that up yet, so might not have been the best purchase, but at the same time, if you get a larger SSD, you also subsequently get a faster solid state drive, so there is some benefit there. All in all, really happy with the performance of this machine. It's hard to find any faults there. Another thing I really like about this machine is the hardware itself. Keyboard, trackpad, and screen are my 3 biggest things when considering a laptop, and Mac or Apple specifically, nails all three of those things. The trackpad is wonderful. It's so smooth, your finger just kind of glides across it. And the keyboard is absolutely phenomenal. By far my favorite keyboard on any Mac. It has a decent amount of travel, very responsive, very tactile. I'm a huge fan of what they did with this generation's keyboard. And the screen is freaking gorgeous. So vibrant, colors are so alive, super high resolution, you don't see any pixelation. The screens that Apple has been producing, really ever since Retina was introduced back in like 2012, have just been killer, stellar, like just phenomenal. It really elevated the entire laptop market to do better. I'm a big fan of that 120 hertz refresh rate as well. I can't really go back to 60. Anyway, the TLDR here, which I guess I should have included at the beginning, is that I absolutely love this laptop. Even though it's a couple years old, it still kicks ass and runs like it did the day I bought it, and I plan to have it for the next couple years at least. I also highly recommend getting a MacBook if you don't already have one. It's a computing experience unlike any other. And no, I'm not sponsored by Apple. I'm not a part of that embargo gang. I am just here promoting what I really like, what I've been using for over a decade, and what I will continue to use until I die. Wow, that was really smooth. Anyway, thank you for watching. If you like, leave a like. If you didn't, leave a dislike. Let me know how I can improve in the comments below. If I'm doing something in particular that's really bothering you, or you have a really big issue with how ugly I am, or the size of my nose, or whatever the case may be, let me know in the comments. Fight me, come at me, do something about it. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.
I went back to my old school, and I started thinking of you. Thought about how long it's been, and if we'd ever see each other again. We don't really talk anymore. I just find it sad when I'm in my house.